Hello, and welcome to another episode of Two Chicks, One Show. We've been off the air for about a month from the end of Agent Carter, and we are back because the Doughtlander is officially over. And the newest episode, the first episode of the second half of the first season of Outlander aired last Sunday? Last Saturday. And we are now jumping back into the show that got this whole show started with the newest episode of Outlander. Kate, why don't you tell us what happened in this week's episode?
Okay. Well, you took my opening line, but yes, Doughtlander is over. And we kind of somewhat pick up exactly where we left off, a little bit beforehand. So I think it's safe to say that Jamie and Claire are no longer in the honeymoon stage of their romance and now have to deal with life as a real married couple once they travel back to Castle Leoch. Yes, Jamie rescues Claire. I don't think any of us were wondering if that was actually going to happen.
No.
So it's actually quite speedy and they get it over with very fast. So that's pretty much what happens. So I guess we should dive into it.
I guess we should. Now, one thing that's different this time around for these recaps is that whereas every time we would do an episode, we would talk about how we haven't read the books yet. Now, I've actually read the first book.
Yeah.
Kate still hasn't because she's a slacker.
Yeah. It's a big book, guys. It's a big book.
It's a very big book. It took me a very long time to read it, and it was a little difficult. But, so I've read the book, and I know everything that happens, and I'm trying to remember all that. My recall might not be perfect, but I'll do my best. Kate has not read the book, so we'll be comparing and contrasting our opinions based on that, and also I will no longer be participating in the predictions parts of these shows because
we just discussed Trisha does have a pretty good tell. So
I do have a tell, so she'll probably predict things and then I'll probably make a face and it spoil everything, but I'll be doing my best not to spoil the rest of the show for those of you who have not read the books. So anyway, jumping into this episode, right off the bat, there's some slight differences, but it's not a big deal. It's a lot like the way that they've been doing the rest of the season, where they make slight changes to increase the drama or extend time or shorten time, things like that. So Jamie rescues Claire, but the biggest difference in this episode from previous ones is that this one is told from Jamie's perspective.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what your thoughts were on Jamie's perspective.
I am partial to the Claire point of view because, I think it's nice to get a female voice and a female-driven main character, but in the same breath we don't really know jack shit about Jamie. So it's nice to get a little bit more of Jamie's side. And I think I watched the episode on demand, which I'm assuming you also did as well.
Yes.
And, they do that, inside Outlander at the end, and you get to listen to Ronald D. Moore talk about it. And he talked about making the shift from Jamie's point of view, whereas now, and I think it is very true, and I think it will, continue within the series, it's not just the story of Claire anymore, which is in the first half of the season is just about Claire. But now, since she's married Jamie, it really is a story about Jamie and Claire. So I think we should get Jamie's point of view. I don't know if they have to do it in a style where one episode is one point of view and one episode is the other person's point of view. I don't know why we can't split it up a little, but it was interesting to see a whole episode from Jamie's perspective.
I think it was interesting. I also think it was unnecessary. I think they did it for two reasons. One, very specifically, I think, less big a deal for them was making Jamie more interesting because he's still boring. To me, anyway, I think he's still boring. He's very pretty to look at, but
I think we're getting there, though. I think we're getting more and more layers of Jamie.
I think we are getting some more layers, and we will get more throughout the rest of the story. But I think the biggest thing for them, the reason they chose this episode to make it Jamie's perspective, was because they wanted to make him sympathetic, because this is the only time when he's really not sympathetic.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I figure that's where you were going, that I think they thought it was a good idea because they have this big, which I don't know why why everyone's making kind of such a big deal about it within the media. There's a spanking scene. So I think when they tell it from Jamie's point of view, it makes him seem like he's not really a bad wife beater.
And that was a thing that I didn't necessarily think was entirely necessary, because the exact same thing happens with the exact same justification from Claire's perspective in the book. I didn't need to see it from Jamie's perspective. I understood that it's 1743.
Yeah.
This is what's done.
Yeah.
It's not like it's, 2015 and he's beating his wife because he's upset with her. It's, it's like punishing a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact concept. And so, like, while I'm not for beating your wife because she disobeyed you, you understand it in cultural perspective.
Yeah, like, I understood it. It wasn't, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the most uncomfortable thing I've ever watched on television. Like,
it was way more uncomfortable in the book. Yeah,
which I figured. But I feel like they kind of played it off a little bit more playful than I think it, should have been. Like the chasing her around the room.
Yeah.
Commentary from the guys down in the pub or the tap room. I was just like, this is a little bit like, it was hard for me to like really feel the moment because it was almost like a slapstick comedy to me.
Yeah, it was like a Benny Hill skit.
Yeah, whereas I feel like the real emotional scene was that scene right after he rescues her and he goes, "You're pulling out my guts." And I was just like, that was the emotional scene for me. And the one at the end. But the spanking scene was almost kind of like, it was almost kind of ridiculous for me.
Yeah, and I definitely think they did that to try to inject some levity into the situation so that you weren't freaking out the whole time. But in like I said, in the book, it's way more disturbing because Claire's terrified the whole time. Because this is to her being beaten, whereas for him it's disciplinary.
Yeah. Whereas I think in the show I read that I don't feel like she was terrified. I think she was like thought it was disrespectful.
Yeah, she was scared in the book, and I think they went a little bit there, but the music was so playful and the whole staging. Yeah, it was weird. It's just strange. Like it's not a huge deal though, because like that moment is a stepping stone to get them to where they get to at the end of the show, where he says, I'll never do it again, and he does say the same thing in the book. They both come to this realization that they have to approach this relationship differently. And one of the things that was nice from Claire's perspective that you don't see because this was from Jamie's is that she recognizes that he's right. She does need to listen to him because she doesn't know what this world is like, and she's pretending like it's still 1945 and she can do this stuff.
And I think you started to see Claire kind of understand that she does need, because even though we're not inside Claire's mind, you could, the way Kate plays her, you're able to read her facial expressions a lot better, and you could recognize that Claire was starting to understand that she kind of does, as much as she doesn't want to have to listen to Jamie, she kind of has to listen to Jamie a little bit, because he's not doing it because he's her husband, but he's like actually trying to help her out here. Like she's not necessarily, like I think she's just starting to get it.
Yeah, and that's one of the other differences in the perspectives is that Jamie is not complicated.
No, he's very straightforward.
He's very straightforward. He says what he's thinking. Yeah. He said all of that out loud, so we didn't need to be in his head.
Whereas Claire's opposite.
Whereas Claire's the opposite. She's thinking everything because she has so many secrets, so being in her head is more interesting. Basically, I'm just not really that interested in being inside Jamie's head. I don't care. Because I don't think he's complicated. I think he says that stuff out loud.
I think it's interesting because we were able to see situations that happen, especially when they got to Castle Leoch, that we wouldn't see if we were only getting Claire's point of view. Claire kind of in this episode is kind of just shun in her room, whereas we're seeing things that are happening behind closed doors that Jamie's a part of, but Claire would never be a part of.
Yes, all the stuff with there's now a big political essentially skirmish between Dougal and Collum over the Jacobite fundraising, because as we've now discovered, Collum was not in on the Jacobite thing, so he's all upset because Dougal was raising money behind his back, and did he take it from the rents, and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into this whole big thing where we eventually discover that Dougal did, in fact, father Collum's child.
Yes, which I totally called in whatever episode of the show.
It was the second one where you see him for the first time.
Yes, and he's, yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of, I think, brother tension in this half of the season.
They're actually, yeah, and I think maybe it's because now there are faces to these characters, and Collum is actually interesting, but it's played up a lot more in the TV show.
Yes.
Than in the original story, which is one of the reasons why I think maybe they wanted to go from Jamie's perspective, like you said, to show these things that Claire would not have been privy to.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of that happens.
Yeah, I figured. I was kind of like, this is probably nothing that happened in the book.
In the book, actually, the coming back to Castle Leoch is much more difficult for her and Jamie because she no longer trusts him. So, like, she suffers the beating and she's pissed at him, and then they show up back at Castle Leoch, and I don't know if this is going to come into play at all. My guess is no, because it would just be a passing comment. But the first thing that Jamie says to Collum after announcing that they've married is, as part of your agreement with my mother, I now get a portion of the rent.
Oh.
So Claire thought that he only agreed to marry her because he got money.
Yeah.
And he tells her it's nothing, really. It's just, he was just sticking it to his uncle because he's a dick.
Yeah. Well, at first, like, when they come back and they, like, everyone, I thought Collum, I completely almost forgot about the whole collecting money for the Jacobite. I'm like, I watch Outlander with my dad. I go, is he, like, seriously pissed off that, Jamie, like, got married to Claire? Like, is he pissed because Dougal arranged it and, like, didn't send, like, a raven or whatever the hell they do back then to him to let him know? Or, like, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, that's what they do in Game of Thrones.
Which is factual.
Yes. It's real life. And then I realized, oh, wait, Dougal's, like, collecting money, and, Collum has no idea. That's it.
That's the thing he's upset about. And Willie told him. Stupid Willie.
Willie, I love Willie so much, but he was just, like, such a freaking idiot. He's lucky he didn't get killed because he had to go take a dump while Claire ran off.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, he goes and narcs on them? Like, what was he thinking?
I don't know. But one of the other things that that comes up in the book that didn't come up in the TV show is the Jamie's relationship with Lahair is a little different. They immediately start talking or something, and Claire sees it and thinks that he really wants to be with her. It's a whole different dynamic. Whereas in the show, she's seen to be a lot more conniving, which I think is good.
Yeah.
I think it's good for the future development of her character. Like, she can come back in and we hate her a lot more.
Well, there's not, besides Black Jack, there really isn't a villain on the Scottish side. Collum and Dougal are a little bit scary, but they would never really do anything to harm Jamie or Claire. Mm-hmm. But now with, how do you say her name?
Lahair?
Lahair. We actually have a villain that's out to get Jamie and Claire within their own, home, per se.
Yeah. Within this little, because they actually do have a home. And I think, was this the first time that he mentions Lallybrook?
He mentions, he was taken prisoner from his estate and he can't go back there. But I guess we're going to be meeting his sister, Jenny. I don't know if Jenny's there or what. And I don't understand why Bearded Bestie's with him.
There's that all gets explained.
Okay, because, don't get me wrong, I love me some Bearded Bestie, but, this guy's being put through a lot of crap just to, hang out with Jamie. He could,
I was surprised they didn't explain Bearded Bestie more already in, how he relates. Because we know that he's part of Clan Fraser.
But we didn't know that until the wedding day.
Right, we didn't know that until then.
I always assumed that he was part of Jamie's father's clan. but it was never officially, discussed until Claire asks, "Oh, is he a Fraser or Mackenzie?"
Mm-hmm. Which is something she should have been able to tell by their
kilts, colors.
Yeah. But apparently she can't. Anyway, so yeah, he owns property. It's an estate called Lollybrook, and there was a whole thing where it was his mother's land that they was an agreement as part of her dowry or something when she and his father got married. There's a whole thing where the Mackenzies were not happy with the marriage and blah 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 blah. So it's essentially exile. It went to him after their parents died, and when he died, if he wasn't married, it would go back to Clan Mackenzie.
Oh, okay.
So now he's married, so now it goes to Claire.
So maybe that's when Dougal calls her. Doesn't he call her the lady of something?
Yeah, he calls her the lady of something, but it's not Lollybrook. I don't remember what he calls her.
Yeah, he calls her some.
But it was the first time that he calls her lady something, which points out that Jamie owns land.
Jamie something.
He is a laird.
So, also, it's an interesting thing to note in the hierarchy and politics. Collum's also kind of pissed at Jamie because Jamie marries Claire, who is a Sassenach, which is an English person, and now cannot be Collum's successor, even though Jamie's not pining for that because he has not sworn an oath to Clan Mackenzies. He is still a member of Clan Fraser. So he could never be a successor to Mackenzies until he swears an oath, but they're not. So the clan scenario isn't, it won't automatically go to Collum's son. There would be a vote, and they could vote for either Dougal or Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Jamie's married to Claire, he's out of the running, which could have been something that Dougal knew, and that's why Dougal made Jamie marry Claire.
Definitely a possibility, and I don't remember if that's mentioned. I know that there is talk about how Dougal is essentially the likely heir to the Mackenzie clan, especially because Collum is living on borrowed time.
Yes.
Which she actually mentions in the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious that he's living on borrowed time. So now there's a lot of politics that are coming into play.
Yeah.
In the show, which is interesting. It makes all the relationships a lot more heightened.
Mm-hmm.
Intensive emotional resonance and actual drama. Which is very interesting. I'm trying to think of other things that happen in this episode. There's an outline. I should just look at it. There actually isn't a ton more. We have more Lahair stuff where she actually makes a move on Jamie, and he says no.
Yeah.
And then there's
talk about that final sequence, which I think is quite interesting. So Jamie is skipping rocks, walking down memory lane. He's doing this whole big speech that we got in the teaser where he's talking about 1 step forward, 2 steps back, he's on a freaking journey. You're just what the hell are you talking about? It reminded me kind of what those Lincoln commercials with Matthew McConaughey. And you're what the shit is he talking about as he's driving around? So Jamie's having one of those, moments. And Lahair,
yes.
Sounds like an airport. Lahair comes walking down, and she kind of offers herself to Jamie. And Jamie, after, denies her, and she's, left in the cold. And he makes his way back to his chambers to Claire. And then, you hear the inner monologue, and he goes, "The next moment will decide the factor of my relationship," or something extremely dramatic that. You're oh, Jesus, what are you going to do? And at first I thought he was just going to walk in and be yo, Lahair just made a pass at me. But he didn't.
No.
Claire's in there
way further than that.
Yeah. So Claire's in there combing her hair, and then all of a sudden he just gets down on his knees, pulls out his dagger, and swears an oath to her. Well, after he said he saw an unbendable man bend. So Collum Jamie's able to talk to Collum to like pretty much forgive Dougal for collecting the money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not like a riot within Clan Mackenzie. So Jamie's now amazed by Collum agreeing to do this. So then he swears an oath to Claire, being like, I'll never hit you again. All this, you know, dramatic stuff. I don't know if you know exactly what he said, but
I know
much.
a lot of what he said. I mean, he essentially made the same oath you would make to a clan to Claire, and then he said, you know, if I ever raise my hand in anger to you again, may this dagger pierce my heart or something. Or it's like, may this blessed blade or something pierce my heart. But yeah, basically stab me in the chest.
Yeah. And then he explains to her how the key is the key to the property.
Lollybrook.
And that's when he delivers a line that we've all heard a million times in all the trailers. You're my home now.
Yeah.
And, you know, Claire, I guess, swoons, and then they, you know, start. They may have makeup.
Having sex.
Yeah, they get it on. They don't even make it to the bed. They just do it right on the floor.
And then she does the whole, like, if you ever strike me again, I will cut your heart out and eat it for breakfast.
Yeah, like in the middle of doing it, she grabs the dagger and like is holding it to his chest and goes, if you ever hit me again, I'll cut out your heart and eat it. And you're just like,
I think that line might actually be in the book. I meant to go back and look.
It was totally badass. I loved every second of it. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah. They did a really good job with that sequence. It was really intense and also like so many different ways. It was
I was just like,
I don't even want to know what it was like to film that.
I'm like, am I supposed to be uncomfortable? Am I supposed to feel aroused? I don't know what these feelings are. I feel weird right now, but this is weird, man. And that's how I was just like.
And also badass.
Yeah, it was beyond badass. I was just like, oh my god. Claire, you just keep proving to be like the scariest chick in 18th century Scotland.
So after they have passionate makeup sex, a couple things. First, Jamie asks her to define fucking and sadist.
Which was hilarious because when she calls him a sadist, he probably doesn't even know what the fuck that means. And then I didn't even realize, like, did the word fuck before or fucking? Like, is Claire the first person to say that in Scotland?
She's the first person to say it ever.
Oh my god, she invented the word fucking. So I was like, I thought that was cute in typical Jamie.
I like that too. And so that was all in there. And then as Jamie's about to get up and go get food, Claire discovers an ill wish under their bed.
Yeah. Which just looks like a hay wrapped around in a knot.
Well, it's just supposed to be a spell. I mean, they don't really have much in the way of shapes.
Yeah.
An ill wish wishes harm or death or something upon the person on whom you bestow it, and
it's an ill wish.
It's an ill wish. Whoever it was bestowed it upon Claire and Jamie, specifically Claire. And Jamie looks at it, and he gets that look, and he's like, "The hair."
Yeah, and that's it.
And that's it. That's the end of the episode. Roll credits.
Yeah, roll credits.
And that was another big departure from the book, which is that Claire discovers the ill wish on her own in the book. And she has her suspicions about who it is, but she doesn't know, and she doesn't really know how to, like, broach the topic. She doesn't really even know what it is. She knows that it's probably a spell, and it's probably not good, and it's probably from the hair, but she has no context.
Yeah. I mean, like, if I had to pick anyone in the castle, it would automatically be that girl. Like, girl, like, she's asked Claire for love potions. Like, clearly the girl thinks magic is real. So, I'm not surprised. She's clearly pissed off that Jamie had the nerve to marry someone. Even though they've only, like, kissed one time. So, I don't...
Yeah. I'm so next week...
I didn't see... I didn't see like a next. I just saw this season because it was
I
the
saw
first.
an episode description for next week, so I do know, and they mention it in the episode. They mention reaching out to the Duke. What's his face? The one who is actually the benefactor of Black Jack, or who they think is the benefactor of Black Jack.
Oh, okay. I forget what his name is.
I can't remember either now that I'm thinking about it. So he will.
Gloucester or something?
No. Something else. Or the Lord something. It's a British noble to talk to him about, to get a feel on the Jacobite standing from an Englishman. So he will be showing up in the next episode. And things will occur.
There is a guy that has the classic good wig, so I fear that's him in the coming attraction.
More than likely. So then we do get a look at this season. So there's lots of drama. Drama.
Yeah, I don't like. I know there's going to be a lot of Lohair stuff. I know that we finally see Jamie's sister Jenny again, and she looks totally badass. And when I took my "Who Are You an Outlander" quiz, I got her, so I'm excited to meet her.
No, you're definitely Jenny.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if that's a compliment since I haven't met her yet.
It is. She's awesome.
And I know we're going to get Redcoat stuff, and of course, BJ's got to pop up there. And I'm assuming we're going to get some witchcraft crap, because clearly I want to know where little O'Hare got her little bad wish, or what ill wish. I'm assuming it's from our good friend Gillies. Because she seems like Gillis, because she seems like the only one that knows how to do that crap in town. So I'm assuming she gave it to her.
We will find out. I can't say anything because I know the answers to all of these questions. But I can't say anything, and
And I'm going with major prediction that Lohair gets knocked up and Claire takes care of the baby.
Okay.
So
that's been your prediction. That's been your prediction for a while.
That's been my prediction since trailer 1, because why the hell would Claire? Not enough time passes that Claire gets pregnant and delivers a baby, and Claire is in the woods by herself with somebody's baby, and I'm just assuming it's that Hair's kid.
I can't tell you anything.
I know. And I thought it might be Jamie's kid, but I don't think Jamie had sexual relations with that woman.
He definitely did not. As we were talking about in the last, when they had sex the first time, I was like, of course he's a virgin. He's a good Catholic boy.
Yeah, whatever. That means nothing.
He's also in, and they haven't established the ages of the characters.
Yeah.
The actors are in their mid-30s, but in the book, Jamie is 23. I
was always assuming that there was Jamie's younger than Claire.
Yes.
Because he does say Claire has been married before. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, like, Angus and Rupert are good Catholic boys, and they have no problem sticking it wherever they want to.
They have no problem talking about sticking it wherever they want to. Which
I don't know if they're actually sticking it anywhere, but they like to talk that they are.
Yes, and as I said before, those who talk about it the most do it the least.
And I just want to say that if there's ever need for Bearded Bestie to get married, I would like to play his wife.
Okay, duly noted.
I'm just throwing it out there for the world.
We have not talked about this, by the way, your new name. Oh,
yeah. Did you guys check that out? Like Claire, I have also gained a title since we've done Outlander. Trisha has bought me 1 square foot of land in the Scottish Highlands, so now I'm a motherfucking lady, people. Woo!
Yes, that was my Christmas present to Kate, was I found a place where you can buy 1 square foot of land for preservation, and you own that land, and you can visit it and be buried there.
I can spread my ashes or plant a tree.
Yep. You should plant your ashes and a tree.
Yeah, I want to do both.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I have a I have a card that I get to carry in my wallet that says I'm Lady Caitlin Calabro. I got a deed. I got a bunch of crap. So it's official, people. So from now on, everyone needs to be calling me by my full name, Lady Kate Calabro.
Lady Kate Calabro.
So,
I could have called you
people
Laird.
thought I was, yeah. People thought I wouldn't make it in this world. Psh, I'm a lady. She Lord Disney me for people that watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
I don't. So
well, there you go.
I got nothing. So those are our predictions, or at least those are Kate's predictions, because as those of you who have also read the book are right in there with me, leave your predictions, your thoughts about this week's episode of Outlander, and what you think will happen in the rest of the season, / what you're looking forward to if you've read the book. No spoilers!
No spoilers! I was just going to say, don't spoil it for me.
Kate is trying to be spoiler-free.
Yeah, you could be like, Kate's got some great predictions, wink, wink. Like, that's fine. But don't say, Kate, you're an idiot.
Well, I mean, you can say she's an idiot, but just not about her predictions.
But make sure you write, Lady Kate, you're an idiot.
Yes, Lady Kate Calabro.
Be classy about it.
So let us know what you thought in the comments below. We love hearing what you think and talking with you about these shows. Outlander is one of our favorite shows on TV right now, so it's fun. Anyway, so you can also talk to us on Twitter. We're at AllGeekToMeNet for the website, at Trisha Ennis. She's at Kate Calabro, no lady. Or you can also use the hashtag 2chicks1show right there to chat with us. We check it all the time and get sad when nobody talks to us.
Yeah, I have a notification and nothing ever pops up, people.
Nothing ever pops up. Anyway, we look forward to hearing from you. We also look forward to seeing you next week, where this show will be Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We had to move it because of scheduling conflict. But Outlander airs on Stars on Saturdays at 9 o'clock every week for the next several weeks anyway. There's only 7 more episodes left.
Oh! The story continues.
2 Chicks, 1 Show airs every Wednesday at 6 right here. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.